What's going on, people? What's going on? Let a couple more people get up in here. But what's going on with y'all? Salute Demetrius Bright, Ricky Williams. What's going on with y'all? Salute Demetrius Bright, Ricky Williams. Turn this down. So, yeah, got a couple of things I want to talk about, but I'm not gonna wait too much longer. Go ahead and get started. What's going on, everybody? You now tune into another episode of Boxing Matchups. Um, yeah, I mean, as y'all seen in my title today, I want to talk about Canelo and Loma. Why do they get special treatment? What's going on in Condo? Why they get special treatment and all of the other fighters, or pretty much all of the other fighters, got to work twice as hard to get somewhat of the same results that they get. I mean, you got Lomachenko. He only had 16 fights, and he's been able to fight for a title roughly about 3 or 4 times. And you got fighters that got 20, 30 fights, haven't even had one chance to fight at a title. Lomachenko came in to the pros. In his second fight, he was fighting for a title. His third fight, he was fighting for another title. So I'm like, these guys is getting special treatment. But I mean, are they deserving of the special treatment that they're getting? Because you got you got other fighters that are just as talented or more talented than these guys, but they don't get the treatment that they get. And you got Canelo Alvarez. He's able to bounce around and pick what fighters he want to fight, pick what championships he decide he want to go for, or whatever. And he pretty much picked his way all the way through to be undisputed. Um, but we get on people like Tank for doing the same thing. He's picking and choosing fighters that he want to fight. Um, but Canelo Alvarez doesn't seem to get the criticism that Tank gets. He don't. You got Devin Haney. He don't get the opportunity that Lomachenko is getting. So, I mean, you got Gary Russell Jr. He's been the WBC featherweight champion for 6 years, and he haven't had a unification fight yet. None of the guys seem to want to unify with him, and he's sitting right there holding a championship. So I mean, these guys is getting special treatments, and then you got the other guys. They gotta fight 30 fights, 25 fights before they can even get a chance to fight for a title. So I mean, it doesn't make sense why these guys are the ones that's going to get that gets the special treatment, and then you got other fighters that's just as talented and they don't get any special treatment. Like I said, you got people like Devin Haney, you got people like Gary Russell Jr., you got people like Brian Norman Jr., you got people like Gary Antoine Russell. These guys don't get the opportunities that uh, Lomachenko is getting, but these guys are just as talented or more talented than Lomachenko, but they don't seem to get the opportunity that Lomachenko is getting. Um, so I don't know why they they choose to pick Lomachenko out of all the fighters that that's out there. You pick this guy that's been in the amateurs till he was 27 years old. So you have a fighter. What's going on? Crush the Legend. You have a fighter that was fighting in the amateurs till he was 27 years old, fighting against kids. Man, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but if I had my son 16, 17, 18 years old fighting in the amateurs, and he's fighting against a guy that's 25, 26 years old, I'd be mad because this guy's supposed to be in the pros. He's fighting in the amateurs at 20 at 27 years, I mean, 26 years old. He's still fighting in the amateurs. That's not impressing me at all. I mean, you want to impress me, go to the pros and prove that you can do that in the pros. Fight some of the guys that's your age. Fight some of the guys that's your size. You fighting against kids and the amateurs and acting like you proving something. You got 3 gold medals. I mean, you should have 3 gold medals. You fought against kids. You fighting against kids, all 3 Olympics. So you should have 3 gold medals. If you didn't get 3 gold medals, then we know there's something wrong with your ability. I know if I was sitting here when I was playing semi-pro football, if I go back and play Pop Warner, I should be the star on the team. I'm playing against Pop Warner. I supposed to be scoring 2, 3 touchdowns every single game. So I mean, it doesn't make a difference. Yeah, I mean, they definitely got the complexion for the protection because I mean, neither one of them are American. Neither one of them are African American. So I mean, but then you got guys like I said, like Canelo. He fought 40 fights before he fought Floyd Mayweather. And then when he lost to Floyd Mayweather, they said he was green. But let that have been Earl Spence or Bud Crawford or Jamel Charlo, somebody like that. They wouldn't have said they was green. They would have said Floyd Mayweather was better than him. So, but he was green with 40 fights. Now that he fought Floyd, now all of a sudden he's better than everybody in every weight class. Supposedly, he's supposed to be better than everybody in every weight class. But I mean, we don't even know how good he is because he's not fighting everybody. He's picking and choosing who he want to fight, and old media is allowing him to do it. They're not asking for him to fight the top guys in his weight class. They letting him fight whoever he want to fight, and they praising him for it. Like I said, he bounced around 160. He bounced around 168. Went up to light heavyweight for one fight, get a belt. Came back down. Now he's going up. He's going up to cruiserweight. So you went undisputed in 168. You skip over a whole weight class and go to cruiserweight. Why are you not going to light heavyweight? You're gonna jump a whole weight class because you see easy pickings in light heavyweight, and you don't see no easy pickings in I'm sorry, you see easy pickings in cruiserweight. You don't see no easy pickings in light heavyweight. So you decide to jump a whole weight class because we know who's in light heavyweight. You got well, you got one monster and you got a beast that's in light heavyweight. Now, me personally, from the last fight that I see Arthur Butterby in, I think Canelo could possibly beat him. Like I said, he was looking slow, so he did like his age was catching up to him. So he 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 um he possibly could beat him, but we will never know because Canelo's gonna wait to see him look a little older, and then Canelo decide he want to fight him. He never fought none of the guys, none of the top guys that he fought, including Floyd. None of the top guys he fought was in their primes when he fought him. Floyd was on his way out the door. He only had a couple more fights after he fought Canelo, and then he retired. So I mean, he didn't fight Floyd in his prime. I mean, he wasn't there to fight Floyd in his prime. Well, he was there because he had 40 fights, so he was there, but he wasn't asking to fight Floyd at that time. But all the other fighters that he fought after he fought Floyd, he didn't fight none of them when they was in their prime. He fought them on the tail end of their career. So I mean, you got people just like I said, they praising him for what he's doing, but when it comes to another fighter, if they doing that, they're gonna get criticized every single fight. Like I said, Tank Davis, he get talked about every single fight that he picked. That's not Devin Haney or Lomachenko or Gary Russell Jr. or Teofimo Lopez or whatever. He gets criticized for every fight that he picked. But you got this man that got what 60 fights now, and he's still picking and choosing who he want to fight. He's not working his way up the weight class. He's picking and choosing. So I mean, like I said, he decides he want to fight the fighters when they at the tail end of their career. Then he decide he want to get in there and bang with them. Yeah, Crush Legend. Yeah, he skipped the whole weight class. Like I said, he went straight from 168 to cruiserweight. Like light heavyweight wasn't even right there. But at one time you was calling out Arthur Butterby. You said that's who you wanted to fight. So you skip right over his weight class and go to cruiserweight. So, um, they like I said they doing what they want to do when it comes to these fighters. So um, but Loma he he's been getting the silver spoon, so to speak, ever since he came into the pros. Everybody was praising his amateur career or whatever. So I'm like, you praising his amateur career. He got 3 gold medals. I mean, like I said, he should have 3 gold medals. He fought in the amateurs till he was 27 years old. So I mean, like you got to think about it. He's 32, 33 years old. He only has 16 fights. You got Gary Russell Jr., who's 32 years old, who has 30 fights. You got Tank Davis, who's 27 years old, who has 26 fights. You got all these guys that's the same age as you, or you got uh, Devin Haney. Devin Haney's 23, and he got like damn near 30 fights. So you got these guys that's younger than you that got double the amount of fights you got. So why he gets the praise and these fighters not getting any praise? They not putting Tank Davis on a pound for pound, but Tank Davis went through 3 weight classes. You got Lomachenko ranked number 3 pound for pound, and this man lost to a journeyman, and he lost to Telefimo. but you got him ranked number 3. Neither one of the fighters that he lost to are ranked on the pound for pound list, but you got him ranked number 3. That doesn't seem strange to y'all. He's ranked number 3 on ESPN pound for pound, and he lost to 2 people that's not even on the pound for pound. So he lost to one person that had 12 losses before he beat Lomachenko, and been knocked out 5 times prior to fighting Lomachenko. So I mean, like I said, we could see the bias towards their fighters, but when we talk about our favorite fighter, oh, we bias. We shouldn't be praising these fighters or whatever, but these fighters work from the ground up. You got Earl Spence, he worked from the ground up. Bud Crawford, he worked from the ground up. Tank Davis worked from the ground up. Devin Haney worked from the ground up. Gary Russell Jr. worked from the ground up. You got all these fighters working from the ground up, but we shouldn't praise them. We should automatically go with who ESPN and old media saying those are the fighters that we should be cheering on. Nah, I don't see nothing special about Lomachenko. Like I said, Canelo Alvarez, yeah, I mean he's a good fighter, but how good is he if he's not fighting none of the top fighters? We don't know how good he is. Like I'm saying, I don't see anything special with these other fighters that would say he can't possibly beat them. I mean, I see it being a tough, a nice competitive fight. He can come out on top, or the other fighters can come out top. You got Jamal Charlo, you got Boo Boo Andre, you got Arthur Butterbeat. All of these fighters, they top fighters. They're all champions. Why not fight them? Then you have a fighter that's was in 168 who's been calling you out since you came to 168, and David Benavidez. You all of a sudden you decide you don't want to fight no more Mexicans because you knew that guy was coming up the rankings and he was going to be calling you out. That's why you decide you don't want to fight no more Mexicans because you knew he was coming up, and you've been watching him just like everybody else been watching him, and you know that man is a monster. He's like a Mexican. I mean, yeah, he's like a Mexican Arthur Butterbeef. That man just keep coming. I mean, you're gonna have to knock him out. I mean, now, like I said, you can possibly beat him. We will never know until you get in the ring and fight these people. You can possibly beat everybody that's in 168. You could possibly beat everybody that's at 175. You could possibly beat everybody that's at cruiserweight. We won't know unless you get in there and fight them. Same thing with Lomachenko. Lomachenko want to claim he the best in his division, but who are you fighting? You fighting To's leftover, and now you want to get back in the mix for being a champion. I mean, why not fight Devin Haney? That's a champion. That puts you right in the mix to being the champion. Fight Devin Haney. He's been calling you out. He's been your mandatory. You dropped your WBC belt because he was your mandatory. You lost your belt to T.O. You didn't have a rematch clause in T.O. because you was cocky and you thought you was going to beat T.O. You thought T.O. was going to be an easy walk in the park. But T.O. had something up his sleeve that you wasn't expecting, and he beat you. So he decided he didn't want to give you a rematch because you didn't give him a rematch. And I understand. I would have did the same thing. You didn't want to give me a rematch. Why am I gonna give you a rematch? You thought I was nothing. You thought you was just gonna walk straight through me. Nah, you're not getting a rematch. You gotta work your way back up. So, like I said, you wanted to be back in the title hunt. Go after Devin Haney. He's not gonna tell you no. He'll fight you. He won Cambosa, but he'll fight you. If Cambosa decide he don't want to fight Devin Haney, he want to fight Tank Davis. Devin Haney right there. Call out Devin Haney. Let it be known. If Cambosa doesn't pick me, fight me next. Or you can fight Tank Davis. So, like I said, you got these guys that sitting right there. What's going on with you, Ricky? What's going on, man? But you got these guys there, and like I said, these guys is able to be catapult to the top of the division. I mean, right now it's really nothing we could say about Canelo because he was undisputed, so he has a silver bullet. He can go after any champion he wants. My only thing is you've been calling out Arthur Butterby. Why skip over his weight class and go to cruiserweight? You got the silver bullet. You can be his mandatory right now. Or you can go for the other guy, Beldo. And then you'll have a belt. You could unify with Arthur Butterby. And then possibly be 2 times undisputed champion in 2 different weight classes. If you're saying you're only fighting now for your legacy, that's a great stamp on your legacy right there. No other fighter has been 2 times undisputed champion in 2 different weight classes. Not in the full belt era. There might have been one when they had 1 belt or 2 belts, but not in the full belt era. There's no fighter that's been undisputed in 2 different weight classes. So same thing we telling Bud, we telling you, stop going away from the champ. The guy is right there. He's right there. Like I said, if you saw what I saw, he's easy pickings. He look old, but I don't. I believe you don't think you could take his punches. That's why you're not going for him right now. You're gonna wait till he looks a little bit older, and you see somebody that actually have their weight with him. Then that's when you're going to decide you want to fight him. Until then, you're not gonna fight. You're gonna stay far away from him as possible. You're gonna stay up in cruiserweight. But then I heard he's supposed to be fighting Triple G. They talking about making a trilogy with Triple G. So if you're going up to cruiserweight to fight the champion, the WBC champion at cruiserweight, and then you talking about coming down to 160, or is Triple G coming up? Uh, I don't think Triple G is going to come all the way up to cruiserweight. He might come up to 168, but I don't think he's going to come up to cruiserweight. So I don't know, but I'm gonna drop the link in the chat. Anybody want to come on and give their opinion on it? Y'all more than welcome to come on, give your opinion. I just had I just keep seeing these guys' names put in there, and then when I saw the Ring Magazine rankings the other day, it just made me. I gotta say something about it because, like I said, Lomachenko, he has 16 fights, and this guy is ranked over Devin Haney, and I don't understand why. Devin Haney, he's undefeated. He's the WBC champion, and y'all keep putting Loma in our faces. No, let Loma work his way back up there. He beat Richard Comey, and he beat Nakatami, somebody that Tio already beat. It wasn't like they were some world beaters. They're decent fighters, but that wasn't no. That's not the reason why you should put him over Devin Haney. So, you know, I don't understand these people logics. I don't understand. You you keep trying to move these fighters up, but you got a fighter right there that's undefeated, WBC champion, a hell of a boxer. He's a like BFTB say all the time. He's a master class boxer. He's right there. Why not try to catapult this guy? He worked his way all the way up from the bottom and became the champion. Nobody's seeming to get in the ring with him. And then you got guys like Luis Ortiz. For years, nobody wanted to get in the ring with him. Deon- Excuse me, Deontay Wilder got in the ring with him twice, but he was the only one. None of the other top fighters wanted to get in the ring with him. Now that he worked his way all the way up, became the IBF eliminator, got a chance to fight in the IBF eliminator match this past weekend with Charles Martin and beat Charles Martin. Y'all turn around 2 days later and say he has 3 days to sign another IBF eliminator matchup. So, like I said, y'all just keep putting putting whatever fighters y'all want at the top of the list, but all the other fighters, they gotta work. They gotta work hard. They can't get the same opportunities and the same as Lomachenko and Telefino Lopez. I mean, I'm sorry, Lomachenko and Canelo. They can't get those opportunities like those guys. They're not worthy of those opportunities. You know how, I mean, me as a promoter, if I had a fighter that was as talented as Devin Haney or Tank Davis or Gary Russell or Brian Norman Jr. or any Demetrius Andrade, Jamal Charlo, I be trying I be trying my hardest to get these guys those fights. I be putting them in front of the media every chance I get. Look, we trying to fight these guys. We trying to fight these guys. Nobody want to fight. We trying to fight these guys. I be on ESPN. I put them on Showtime. Put them everywhere I could possibly put them at. To put those fighters out there and let them know. Look, these fighters need to be out there. They need to be fighting these champions. Y'all not giving them an opportunity. They need to be out there getting an opportunity. Those are your money makers right there. Devin Haney, he's a money maker. The fans like to see Devin Haney fight. They like to see Tank fight. That's why I understand why Floyd won't put Tank in a big fight. The fans already like to see Tank fight. So you put him in a big fight. That's just bringing in more money. You bringing in more money. Y'all scared that these fighters is going to take a loss. So what? They take a loss. Deontay Wilder took a loss. Everybody still want to see him fight. It doesn't matter. He took a loss. We still want to see him fight. We still know that he's one of the top fighters in his division. It doesn't matter that he took a loss. Very few in their career with an undefeated streak. You're going to take a loss some point in time in your career. Sugar Ray Leonard had losses. Tommy Hitman Hearns had losses. Marvis Marlon Hagler had losses. Mike Tyson had losses. Lennox Lewis had losses. The list goes on and on. So you can take a loss and still be a top fighter. You don't have to be undefeated to be considered a top fighter. That's the new era. Everybody say you got to be undefeated to be considered a top fighter. You don't. You don't have to be undefeated to be considered a top fighter. Your style and your ability to get in there and fight the best, and your attraction that the crowd wants to see you. That's what makes you a top fighter. You take a lot now, and you start going on a losing streak. Then yeah, I mean that is what it is. But you go in there, you 27-0. You take a loss. You're not going to drop out of the fans. You might drop out of old media rankings of the top fighters, but the fans is not going to stop supporting you because you took a loss. No, they still going to want to see you fight. I guarantee you, if I guarantee you, if and when Deontay Wilder comes back, his next fight, he not only is he going to sell out the arena that he's at, but he's going to do big pay-per-view numbers because the fans want to see him fight. He has 2 losses. They still wants to see him fight. So, like I said, you having a loss is not going to stop the fans wanting to see you if you're that good. It's just the guy that you faced was better than you that night. Run it back. Now, if you beat him, now he got a loss. Does that make him not a good fighter? He beat you the first time. So, like I said, I don't know what these people want to do. They just want to keep winning. They too scared to take a loss. So, but yeah, nobody gonna get on. I mean, that's pretty much all I got for y'all. I thank everybody for coming in. Hey, like, share, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And I'll be back with y'all tomorrow. It's your boy, Dwayne Freeman, Boxing Matchups. Peace.